So we're going to continue from where we stopped. Last time we were able to display all the products that we want um, to display there, where we have the category, the names, and the price. So this action, for now, I'm going to leave it because I want to work on these cards because it's this action related to the cards. So let's work on the cards first. And after we are done with the card design, then we are going to work on the store, which is going to be the context, where we're going to be saving whatever cards that we have. Because this component here, we need access to the cart item. And again, to this component, we need access to it. Because how do you know that whether you've added these items or not? So you need to check it inside the cart, whether it's there or not. If it is there, then we know that we display this button, this type of button. But if it's not part of the cart, then we display this type of button, which is this add to cart button. So first, let's work on this UI, and then once we are done with this UI, we now come back into the button by connecting the cards and the two buttons together. But since the components that we are talking about are not even in the same place and they are not even related to each other, so it means we need to have a way of sharing data in between them, because we have the cards. So this card is being used somewhere. These product items and this product list, they are being used somewhere. And I don't think they are related to each other at all. Because if you look at it, the only thing we have is product list and the card. So something we want to use inside this product list, it's the same thing we want to use here. So in order for us to work with that kind of a state, we need to put it inside this app. But instead of us putting inside this app and start passing down props from one component to another one, even though some of the component we don't need it, it's bad. So what we can do here is to create our store by using context. And that context here, we wrap it with our application. And anywhere in the components there, they can go to the context and pick whatever they need from it at there. And that's what we're going to do. But before we get there, which is something I think we've created that, yeah, created the folder and the hooks too. So we're going to be adding them soon. But before that, we need to work on the cart item. And this is the design that we are supposed to work on for the desktop. And on the mobile, as you can see, it's just going to be stacked on top of each other. And if you look at the design here, there is a true design for the cart. When you have item inside the cart, this is how it's going to be. But when you don't have any item inside the cart, as you can see, this is the design is going to show. When the cart item is 0, this is the design we are to show. But when the cart item is more than 1, then we know that we're supposed to show these designs. So let's start. We're going to start with the basic one first, like this. And I'm going to use domain variable just to represent the cart items, the total number of cards we have. So we're just going to use a domain variable because that thing is going to be coming from our context later on. So inside the cart here, what I'm going to be having here is I'm going to have constant total is going to be 0 for now, because we want to design this particular one. And if this thing is more than 0, you know that it's going to show the other design. But first, let's deal with this one first. So we need to have two components. The component for displaying these empty cards and the component for displaying the cart items here. So all this one too is going to be component on their own, because we want to always be focusing on each one of them at a particular time. So I'm going to create two more components here. The one for empty cards. So I'm going to have another component here. So I'm going to call it empty cards like this. So empty card.jsx, which is the one that is going to hold this icon and the text that I have here like that. Then after that, I'm going to have the cart list. So just like the way we have the product list, we're going to have the cart list. So here I'm going to have the cart list. Again too, I'm going to have the cart item. So we're going to have each one of them are going to be component on their own so that they are doing what they are supposed to do. But for now, let's just focus on this empty, and we'll come back to this cat list later on. So inside the empty, let's generate the components, RAFCE, functional components. I don't need this line 1. We don't need to import that. And what do we need to show? We need to show there's icon here, like that. Again, too, for this cat list, let me quickly generate it because I want to add the two of them into that our cat page. Again, remove this one, then save, and everything should be okay. So save this, save the empty cat. Now inside, let me close this data.json for now. So let me close this product item from now, product list for now. We don't need them, or we are dealing with cat. Yeah, so inside this place now, we need to conditionally render the component depending on whether there is cat item or no cat item. And as you can see here, when there is no cat, we need to display the empty component. But when there is cat item, we need to display the cat list. And as you can see, whether there is empty list or no empty list, this title at the top, it's always there. So which means in this place, we need to have that title at the top because it's not related to any of the components. It's here, whether there is a list or no list, that your cat at the top will always be there. So we need to add it here, which I'm going to use this my h3. So inside it, I'm going to have this your cat, and inside this bracket, I'm going to pass our total there. So whatever you have at this total, that's what is going to show inside the bracket. So save and go back to the page. By now, we should be seeing cat 0 inside the box. And once this thing change later on, based on the data that is coming from the store, you see that it will update it like this. But this thing is going to connect to our buttons later on there. But for now, we're using this dummy variable just to represent the stuff. Again, too, now based on the total, we need to conditionally render our component. So if the total is the same thing as 0, we know that we don't have anything inside our cat there. So we display our empty cat if there is nothing there. But if there is something there, then we are going to display the list. And when there is something there, it means that the total is not 0. So which means in our store, we have more than one, we have one or more items in there like that. So now save and go back to the page. As you can see, it's showing empty cat because we don't have anything. Our total is 0. But now if I change the total from 0 to 1, you see that it's going to show the cat list. And this thing will be changing later on based on the action that you carry out from these products. But for now that we're doing the design, I'll be changing the value here at the time just for us to have what we want to work on there. And as you can see, the background I'm using here is not the background that's supposed to be there. This is what we are supposed to have. Again, the background, it's supposed to be white. That's what's supposed to be there, not this orange color that we have right now. So let me move this one to this side. So instead of using this amber, the BG amber, this one should be BG white. And again, it should be rounded like this. So it should be rounded. And again, I gave you this particular width, which is there like that. So save. And the rounded should be this medium. I don't know. Let me see medium. Yeah. And again, too, we need to add padding. So I will use this P5, which is 1 point or something. Yeah. So 1.25 like that. So save. And we should have a padding inside the box. So this is our H3 at the top. This is the design we have to add it. So it's bold, and the color that is here is this our particular custom color. So the class name like this. So this thing is going to be font bold like this. But before it get there, I'm supposed to even kind of make this one to be flex and put them on top of each other. Okay, the padding at the top is it not too much? So let me see the design. I don't think it is much, so it is okay like that. So we need to display this one as flex. So flex pull so that they can be on top of each other. Then the gap should be around that 4, which is 1 rem. Don't forget we have the title and we have the component. So I want the space in between them, and I'm displaying it as flex. Click them on top of each other and giving a gap of 1 rem, so that the title will be at the top, then the other component will be down, and we are going to have this little space here. So for this one, we need to change the color. So this is going to be text app, I think red. Is that not what we call our color? Yes. So save it, and we should have the color for that your card. And again, I want the text to be bigger than that. So because I've increased my screen, that's why it looks as if it's big. Oh no, it's 100, actually 100. So, but I don't like that stuff. So text 2XL like this, if it's not too big. So just to increase it a little bit as a title, and I think 2XL is too much. So let me use XL. Yeah, I think it is okay like this. And that title is done for now. So the only thing we need to work on now is this our empty cart. So we need to enter this empty cart, and inside our empty cart we need to add this the icon and this text that we have under it, which is your added item your added items will appear. So inside this empty cart we need to have the image. So we need to import our image. Then after importing our image, then we need to have this p tag, which have that text your added items we appear here, or we show you. Okay, we appear here like that. So the next thing we just need to do is to import our image. And where is the image coming from? It's coming from our public assets. So under the images, so let me look at it. What is the name? We have this icon confirm, icon not okay, illustration empty. So that's it. So I need to import it. It's either you import it at the top or you pass it directly here. Since we have it under public, you can just pass it directly like this. So we have the images, then we have this illustration empty cards, then svg like this. So for the alternative text, so empty cards, just like a text that is going to come out if the image is not loading, maybe there is network problem or something, as the text is going to show. Let me close the sidebar so that we can have everything. And once this thing is saved successfully, then we should have the icon on the screen. But it's not positioned correctly because we've not styled it. So we can talk to the parents and display it as flex. So flex column, so that we can place them on top of each other. So item center and justify center, so that both horizontal and vertically they are going to be at the center. So the gap should be around 1 rem between the text and the image. And again, everything should go to the center for the text too. So this is going to be text center. The text center is going to move the text to the center, because it looks like it's at the center, but it's not technically at the center. So putting the text at the center should do the work. Again, for this one, we need to change the text color. So this is going to be text, and I think is this what is the name of this our color? Let me go into the Tailwind so that I can remember the color that was set up. Yeah, so app rose. I don't know which one. I think it should be maybe 500. So app rose. I don't know which one because the thing is close to black. So let me allow this thing to come out. Is it rose? Let me check this in again. Yeah, it's actually rose. So it should be this 500. So save. Yeah. So that's it. And it is bold. So the text is bold, or it's medium rather. So fonts, we need to use fonts medium like this. And medium is around that 6 or 500. Yeah. So save it. And as you can see, it's going to come outside the way we have it on the design. So we are done with these cards. We are done with this cart item, and this thing should be mobile responsive because we've already handled the layout when we are dealing with this thing. Yeah, so it will come down and it's going to appear here automatically because the image that is given to us is of the correct size that we want. But assuming you are sourcing the image yourself, you might need to put the height and width. As you can see, the image is having this height and width of 128 px like that because it has been size already, so I don't need to do anything. But assuming you are using a different image from this project, or you are working on your own project, the image you are using is not of the size that you want, then you need to give it a class name, and from there you use the height. So if you don't have the height in Tailwind, you supply your own. For example, 128 px, which is going to create the stop on the fly. So the width to 128, not 128, 128 like this. So height and width will be 128, and once you saved, as you can see, there is no difference because that's the size that is there before. So it's just to show that you can, or if it is not up to this, if I want, I can use 100. Maybe what is there before is 128, but it's too much. Then if I want, I can reduce it to the size. As you can see, it's going to reduce. But the original size is okay, so I don't even need to type it here. It will still work because we are following a proper design. And that design that we are following, everything has been set up for us there. So the only thing we just need to do is to pick all the materials, and it's going to do the necessary thing for us without doing too much of changes on the items there. So yeah, so now we have the empty carts. So we need to work on the other one when there is when it is not empty, which is this one. This is where the major work is, because there's a lot of things to be done here. So we have the carts. So this is what I'm calling the carts list. Let me even put everything together. So this is what I'm calling the cart list. So inside the cart list, we're going to have this group. So apart from this group, we are going to have this summary section. So we are going to have these items, and we're going to have this summary section. So under the summary, that's where you'll be having the order total, which is based on the calculation you have there. So 5.5 plus 28 plus 13, that's what gives us 46. But we're going to be doing all this one later on when we create our store. So it will be calculated dynamically based on what the user picked. But for now, we are just going to be using dummy data for all these items, even all this one too. We're going to be using dummy data, but later on, when we get our store, it will be picking all this information from the store. But for now, we really want to focus on the design aspect. So this is going to be our cart list, the component that I created. Inside our cart list, we're going to have these cart items. And inside these cart items with S, we're going to have the one without S. So this is going to be cart item without S. Everything here is going to be with the S. Then again, we're going to have the summary section. So inside the summary section, we're going to have this order total. Then we are going to have this carbon unnecessary stuff that is here, because we don't deal with all this in Nigeria, but we're still going to add it. Then after that, we're going to add our button. So this is the layout of what we want to do, and let us start with them. So we have this, let me close this thing. We have this cart list. So inside the cart list, what did I say we're going to have? We're going to have the cart items, the one with S. So we're going to have the cart items, so JSX like this. So apart from the cart items, we are going to have the cart item without S. The one without S is the each item that is inside the list. So going back to the page, the one with S is the entire box at the top here. So this entire box is the one that holds all of them. But you can see this one is one of the each item. So this is one item, this is another item, and this is another item. So the one with S is one that is going to group them together. The one without X is each one of them that have the title, the number of items, or the quantity, the price, and the quantity multiplied by price is what is going to give us the total. Then plus the X that you can use to remove it from the cart later on. And again, this down part is going to be the order summary. So I'm creating components for each one of them. I will call them where we're supposed to use it. So again here, we're going to have the cart order, or we're going to have the cart order summary like this. But again, we're going to have another summary later on. But for now, let's just have is 1. So now we have all our components. We just need to join them together. So inside this list, inside the list, we need to have the cart items like that. I've not created the stuff. So RAFCE. So let's generate all the necessary stuff. This one at the top, we don't need it. So save and import the stuff. Now you should be seeing it here. So after the items, what do we need? We need that summary. So RAFCE. As you can see, we are putting everything in a component. It's not a must that you did like this. You can put everything together inside one component. But when you are working on a big project like this, it's always good that you use or that you put each one of the items inside their own respective component, so that anytime you need to manage anything later on, you know which file to focus on, not that you'll be focusing on a gigantic file that have a lot of things inside it. When you want to deal with the summary for the order, we know that we just need to open this component and we'll do whatever we need to do. When we want to deal with the item, we know that we just suppose we face that just focus on this particular uh component here. But it's not a must. You can put everything directly, even you can put everything directly under this card. So instead of you separating them like this, you can put everything here directly. It will still work, just that you have a lot of files or a lot of items to be scrolling up and down. But see, right now, you can see anytime we want to deal with empty stuff, we know that with this is the file we need to open, and we only focus on that. Not that we'll keep scrolling up and down looking for each one of the items. So here, so under this one, we need to call this cart summary. At order summary, not save, not save yet. So save. That item too should be saved. Where are we going to be using kite item? This is where we'll be using it. For now, let me add this summary. Come outside. What's wrong with this? Alright, so you don't want to come outside, cat order, then I have to do import myself because I did not create it. So that's what's wrong. So replace the name and close everything. So save, and everything should be okay, but it will still not show on the screen. Why? Because our total is still 0. So let me just change total to 1 for now, and as you can see, it's showing our items now and it's showing the order. So inside this place, we are done. This is what this one is just doing, not doing anything much. That's all the stuff it's doing there, like that. So this is where the work is that we need to work on this design here. So we need to look through the items, and from there we display the stuff. So here, this one will go into the cart. It will pick all the cart that is there, it will look through it, and it will call the items to display the stuff. But right now we don't have the cards, so I will just use a dummy array here. So const cards like this is just going to be a dummy array with just some random number just to represent that this is a card, but we're going to replace it later on once we create our store. And from here now, what we can do, the normal gist that we are used to already. So the cards, then from there we map through it like that, and once we map through it, we get each one of the cards and we return our card items like this. So what we just need to do is to create the key. Right now I'm using this key, and later on we need to supply the cards into the stuff. But for now, let me just pass it. So let me just pass it. So the card is going to be card like this. But later on, this one will be replaced with the correct data. So import this cards item, save it, and once it's run now, we should have how many copy? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of it on the screen. As you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like that. So what do we need to do now? What we need to do is just the styling by putting all the content where they are supposed to be. So if you look at it, the cards items is the one that is wrapping everything. So it's the one that is wrapping everything here. So This is the cart item with S. For the one without S, this is 1, this is 2, and this is 3, and so forth like that. So we need to work on this layout. If you look at this layout for the item, so this is the item. Inside the item, if you look at it, we have the content for the left, and you have this particular egg or the cross for the right. And on the left, as you can see, we have the title at the top. Then we now have this other item below it like this. So this is what we need to do inside each of the item. I'm sending all this message. So this is what we need to have there like that. So let me close this in again and go back into our component. So inside this our cart item now, we need to arrange what we want there. So what do we want inside this place? We need to have two sections. The one for the left like this. Again, we're going to have the one for the right, which I'm going to call the action. This one is going to be content. So inside this content, these are not the classes that I need, but this is what I will just use for now. Or this one itself is not going to be a div. What is going to be there is a button because it's an action. So what am I doing here is this button. So this thing is an action that you can click on to remove the item from the cart. So inside this button, we're going to have our image. And what is the image that we want to use? So let's go back again and see the icon. So it is icon removed. Okay, the name is images, then the icon remove item svg like that. So that's the name of the icon. And what if the image is not showing? So we just have this text as the alternate there like that. Then inside this content side, so inside the content side, what are we going to have there? As you can see, we have the title at the top, we have the quantity by this side, we have the price, and we have the modification of this your so yeah, I'm going to create all this item at the top that we're going to be replacing later on based on the cart that is being sent to us. So here we're going to have the quantity. All this item is coming from the cart. So we're going to have the quantity. Let me just use QTY. For now, I will just use 2. So from there, we're going to have the price. All this item will be coming from the cart that we are receiving later on. I'll be receiving later on. So for now, I will just use 6,000 for the stuff. Then how do we get the total? So const total now is going to be your quantity, then multiply by the price. Because that's what is going to give us what we have there. So 1 times 5.50 is the same thing as 5.50. So 4 times 7, that's what we're getting 28. 2 times 6.5, that's what we're getting 13 like this. So on all this info, we're going to be getting it later on under the cards that will be sent to us here. But for now, I'm using all these dummy data. But later on, we're going to be replacing this quantity and this price based on what you pick from here. So the item you pick from here, we're going to get its title and we're going to get its price because it will be added to the cart. But for now, I'm using this dummy data for the design. So here at the top, we're going to have our title. So we need to have the title. For now, I will just, so here, const title, so that we can have this one. So this is going to be, this thing has changed again. Let me go back to my US keyboard. Okay, so I will just use this. Let me just use Amala. So Amala like this, plus Ewedu as a title. So where do we want to use the title? I will not use let me just use H3 for that place. So this is going to be title like that. So after the title, what do we have? We have a group, and inside this group we have the quantity. So I'm going to have a span. Why am I using span? Is because the design of that quantity, as you can see, it have its own styling compared to the other one. Again too, the styling of this one too is different. This one is bold than this one, so we need to put each one of them in their own, even though they are together. That's why I'm creating that group there at the top. So this is where we're going to have the quantity, so QTY like this. So what else do we have? Let me move this thing to one side so that we can be seeing it at once. So we have the title, which is already at the top. So under it, we have this group, which is this div that I have here. Let me give it the class name down for now. Then after this span, we have another span that is there like this. So we have another span, or let me put it in a p tag, because the spacing here is not the same spacing here. So by the time we are dealing with our flex, we don't want the gap of this one to affect this one. So we're going to put it in a p. Inside this p, I'm going to have two span. The first span is for that ads, which is going to be the price. So this price here is supposed to have the naira. Are we using naira? Beside, let me see, what are we using? Yeah, we're using naira there. And what did we use for naira at that time? We use our entity symbol there, which is this 8358 like that to generate the naira. So we have the price like this. Then after this one, we're going to have another one again, which is going to be this other one. So this one is not having at, it only have naira, and this one is going to be the total. So now everything is set. What we just need to do is to apply the style. So let me give each one of them class name for now, and we come back to them and apply the necessary style that we need. So class name like this. This span 2 is going to have its own class name like this. So this div has already have this h3 too is going to have its own class name because we are using Tailwind. So the button 2 is going to have its own class name because we need to put some style on it. So save and go back to the page. We should have the layout. So we only have the layout. We don't have the styling. And as you can see here, everything is displaying the way we want it to be. So the first thing we need to do is under this card, we need to space it because I can see that they are jam-packed together. So here it is going to be flex cool because they are going to be stacked on top of each other, but the gap is going to be around that 6, which is 1.5 like this. So save, you see that, yeah, you can see this is the first one. There's a space between that first one and second one, then to the third one, fourth one, and so forth like that. But this thing is going down the way I don't want it to be. We are going to come back into that. But let's fix the styling here first. So here, we're going to have the class name for this one too. So this one is going to be flex because we want them to be placed side by side. As you can see, the icon is going to be by the side, but we need to justify between. So they need to be aligned to center and justify between so that this icon can go towards the right side. Let me give you background so that you see what is going on there. So write 500 like this. So each one of them, it's going to be this background. Then from there, don't forget we have the content and we have the button. That's what we are doing here. We display it as flex. Then we item center so that the one that is small can go to the center vertically. Then justify between, that means justify content space between, which is going to move the content to the other side. And in case there is no space, we want to force a space of 4 here, which is 1 rem. Because if you go to a screen, but the screen too is, there's no way the user will be using any of this code screen. So we are just making sure that there's still enough space in between them, even if there is no space. Whereas there's going to be space because it's not going to be by the side like this when you're on mobile screen. It's going to be stacked on top of each other. And at that time, we'll have already have enough space. So what do we need to do? We need to style this our title. So we need to style our title because if you look at it, the title is bold there. So where's the title? So here we need to display this one too as flex cool because they're supposed to be on top of each other, and flex 1. This thing should take up the remaining space that is left in the parent. Or I don't even need to do that for now. So yeah, just save it and going back to the page, they are still going to be on top of each other. But this thing is doing what I don't want. The formatting of this our price is not done properly, so we should do it like the way it is here. And what did we use that time? We use this our international stuff to format the price. And as you can see, the same thing that I want to happen to price is the same thing that is going to happen to the total there. So if you want, can create a function that is going to format this our price and total, because I can see now we are using this thing again and again. What we use here is what we want to use here, and it's still the same thing we want to use here. So since it's something that you want to keep using every time like that, what can we do? You can actually create a hooks that is going to be doing, or you create a function, utility function here, that is going to be handling it for you every time. So instead of us doing copy and paste that I want to do right now, we can just create utility function, because what we need is this. We need this thing here. We need this our international number here. So where is it? Okay, I think, yeah, as you can see, this is what we need. So instead of me copying this stuff every time, I can create a function or hooks that I can call to do this magic for me anytime that I need it. And that's what I'm going to do, which is going to be our first hook. So I'm going to create utility hooks here, or I can just say that, yeah. So I can just call it this app hook.js like this. And under this our app hook, the first hook we want to use is use so const use use utils, or I can just call it use app utils. And what is the utils going to be there? This is going to be a collection of all the utility function that we want to use. One of the function we want to use here is to const format price. So this thing is going to receive the price, and based on the price you supply it to it, it will just return back this our new international whatever stuff, pass the price, and everything should be okay like that. So we have this our first hooks. Then from there we can return it by formatting price. So any other thing that we need later on, what's going on with the generator? Coming. All right, so we have this our, but this thing is not exported, so we need to export the stuff. So export so that we can use it anywhere we need it. So anywhere we need this functionality of formatting the price, we can just call this method from these particular hooks. So from there, we can just, call it, and if there's any changes, we know that we are doing the changes in one place, not that we'll be copying this in again and again from different, because we are using it here. I'm going to use it here. I'm going to use it here, and again, there's another place we are going to use it. As you can see, we are still going to use it on this total, which is another component on its own. Again, there's a component here. You can see it will be used in a lot of different places like this. So instead of us doing copy and paste, it's better we just create a better stuff by creating our hooks and put all the necessary utilities that we want. So I'm calling this use app utils, because we might have some other things that we are reusing too in different places. So I will just add it here, and I will use the hooks anywhere I need it there. So these hooks now, we have it. So we can just go into this our product item at the top here. We can import it, or we can use it directly. So const, so here this is going to be used app utils like this, which is just a bunch of utilities that we want to use like that. So import it. What do we want to use from here? We want to use our format price. And where do we want to use this format price? Instead of us calling this international whatever stuff, what we can do is just to pass this format price, and that's all like that. So save and go back to the page. Everything should still be working. As you can see, it's still working like that, because we just extract it out. And this same functionality now, that's what I would just use directly under my cart item or anywhere I need that same formatting. So here now, what I can just do is to import it. Then this our format price here. Come down here on the price, then wrap it, and everything should still work. And I still need to do the same thing too for total. Now I don't need to start doing copy and paste for this entire stuff. In case there is changes to the way we are formatting our code, the only thing we just need to do is to go to the definition, and that's the only thing we just change. and anywhere we're using it, it will change automatically there. So save now, and once you save, as you can see, it has been formatted correctly the way we want it to be. So the only thing we just need to do now is to make sure that the styling is done properly there, like that. And which stuff we need to style? So the title. So we need to have this font bold, because the title is supposed to be bold, like that, which is that Amala and Weju that we have at the top. So are we using the correct color? No, we are not using. I don't think we are using the correct color right now. Abi? Yeah, it's the correct color. So here now we need to move all this one side by side. So I'm going to flex them. So we're going to have the items center. So items center. So vertically they can be center. Then the gap is going to be around 5, because I want this quantity and this other one. As you can see, this is a gap, but that gap is not affecting what's going on. But that gap now is not affecting this and this one, because they have a separate spacing in between them. The spacing here is not the same thing as what is here. So that's why I put them inside this P, so that I can just gap it the way I want. So items center to like this. So since that one is using 5, this one is going to use 3. So which means we're going to have the space which is not up to the one beside the quantity that we have here. And once this thing is saved, then we should have the correct stuff here. Yeah, so the spacing here is not the same thing as what we have here. And I can see that it's 1x beside the quantity. So we need to put x beside it. And again, this one should have font medium. So font should be medium, like this. And at the same time, the text is going to be up red, because that's the color that we have on it. Yeah, so now we have this stuff. Is this 5? Not too much. Let me use 4 like this. Yeah, I think 4 is okay. Again, the color we have here is not the same. So on this P, this is going to be our text, then rows. So no, app rows. So app rows, I don't know which color, whether it is this 400 or so. Yeah, let me see. Does it match? I think so. And again, this one should have a font of semi-bold. So we have the semi-bold. So this one, no, this is the one that's supposed to be semi-bold. So semi-bold, why this one is medium. So that one is really thick compared to the total price. Yeah. So we have this, so whatever value you have here is what is going to be multiplied by this value, and that's what is going to be what we have here, like that. But we need to style this our x, because if you look at it, it is having this circle, or it is inside that border. So and that's the reason why we need to style this our button. So we need to display it as flex, items, center, justify center, like this, then text center, like that. So we need to have the height and width for this button. I don't know the size, so I will just try this 8 for now. W2 is going to be 8. It's going to be bordered. So it have a border of around this 2 pixels, like this. So there is no 2 pixels here. I don't think I have 2 pixels. Then it's going to have this our border. Then app rows, which is the same thing as that 400. Yeah, it should be the same thing as this. So save, and now we have this our button, and I think this thing is too big. So maybe I can just use a normal border like this, because that line is too thick. Yeah, I think it's okay like this. And again, this 8 is too much, so let me try 6, whether it's going to be okay. So whether it is going to be okay, and I think it's okay. The next we just need to do is rounded full, in order for it to be border radius of 50% or something like that. So as you can see, it's going to turn to this circle. And I think this scene is a component. It should be a component because I'm seeing it in another place. No, that's the only place we have it. It's not here. We don't have it here. All right. So we don't have it here. So now we have this our cards items. So the other thing we just need to do is to do connection later on. But before that, there is a problem with this our cards. There's a problem with this our cards. But before I solve that problem, let's work on this cards summary first. So let me go back to the card list. So there's supposed to be a space in between the cards items and the card order summary. So you need to have a space, and there is something that is missing that I'm seeing right now. So flex school gap should be around that 8, which is 2 RAM as a space in between them. So as you can see here, so they are no more together like that. So this card item, if you look at the original design, for each one of them, there is actually underlined there, which I did not add. So as you can see, there is this like a button border that is going on here that we did not add. So it's something that we need to add into that place there like that. So we need to add it. So how do we add that? So it's going to be on the original container there. So this is the original container. We need to add a border button. So we have the border B. So to add the border for the bottom, you are going to have the border B like this. Then border B, because we are only talking about the bottom, then the color is going to be this, our app rows, and I think it should be this 100. So save it, and as you can see, at the bottom of each one of them, we have the line. But the line is too close. So how do we do it? We need to apply the padding button. It's only the button we are dealing with. So PB should be maybe around this 2, which is 8 pixels. I don't know whether it is okay. It's let me use 1 RAM for each one of them. Yeah, and I think it's okay. Let me check the design. I think it is okay. This text is really big. All these texts are really big. They are not supposed to be big like this because they are fighting with this title. But to me, it looks like they are not supposed to be of that size. So what do? We just need to change their stuff from here. So what we can do is to do the text small. So text small is just around that 14 pixels or so. Yeah, so as you can see, they are now smaller compared to what we had before. Before is using 16, but now they are using 14 pixels like that, because they are not supposed to be fighting with the title. And I think there is a space that we are not putting on this title. We have a gap. So we have this plus cool. Yeah, I did not put any gap. So gap should just be around this 3 or so between the title and this one under it, which is going to give us, and it's too much. So it's too much. And I think it should be gap 1, just a little bit. Yeah, so now we have this our cards design. So the only thing we just need to quickly add now before the times runs out is this the summary section. So today is just the design part. The next class, start connecting them. We create our context for the cards, and we pick the item from there like that. But for now, I see something we need to receive the ID, because the time when you want to delete something here, we need to know the ID of the one you want to delete. Because if you click on the X, how do we know is this one you want to delete? It's through the ID. But we don't have the ID yet, so we're going to be adding the ID later on. But for now, let's just have all this normal information that we want to display. So we have these items like this. The next thing we need to work on, is this our cart order summary, and we call it a day, which is this part. So this is the part that is going to be there. So inside the cart summary here, we have the section for the order total. So for this section, we're going to have the p tag. The p tag, we have this order total like this. And after this order total, we have this h2. Inside our h2, that's where we see now we need to use this thing again. So from here, so const total is going to, for now, I will just use 14,000 like this, just dummy value. Then again, this our hooks, we need to use it again because we need to format that price. So since we're going to format the price, we need to call our hook. So const is going to be this use app utils, and once this thing is imported, under it we have this our format price. So this is advantage here. So this our format price. Inside this place, we pass it, and we pass our total inside like this, and it's going to do the necessary formatting. So for the HTML for Naira, then we'll call this our stuff, and it's going to generate the Naira for us. So once this is saved, in the order summary, as you can see, we have the 14,000 like that. And later on now, if you want to be adding 00 to our value, you can just customize this stuff, and we don't need to start going around to be updating them one by one. Later on, if you want to be adding .00 now, we just go to the definition of this thing, and we just tell it that we want this thing to have a minimum of 2 decimal places, and everywhere we are using it, it will update all of them at once. So this is the advantage of you abstracting out, putting out things that you know that you are reusing in different places, because that thing can change later on. So here now I can actually pass some formatting into this stuff here. So where we can use so I can pass undefined here, and after passing undefined, I can pass minimum whatever stuff. Yeah, so minimum fraction digits is going to be 2. So anytime it's generating any of this in later on, can you see all of them at once? You'll be having a minimum of 0 like that. So all of them, I don't need to start going to where I'm using it. Since all of them are using the same thing, it will update the code instantly. So this is the advantage of you creating abstraction over your code, where you see that you are repeating that stuff again and again. Assuming that you don't do it like the way I did it right now, so I have to go to this component to update it. I'll come here to update, and I'll come here to update the stuff. But since all of them are using the same functionality, this is the only place that will just change. And everywhere I'm using this functionality, it will update all the code instantly. But for now, I won't be using it like this, but just to showcase the power of you abstracting anything that you know that you are repeating yourself there like that. So it's always save you a lot of time when you need to modify the stuff, and it needs to go across the system. So you only modify the source, and whenever you're using it, as you can see, it will update all of them at once. So this is the advantage. It's not a must that you do it, but when you are working on a serious project, once you see that you are duplicating something a lot, it's better you, if it is component, create a separate component for that stuff. If it's not component, it's functionality, then you can create the hooks, and you create all the functionality inside that hooks. And anywhere you need that same functionality, you just call the hooks, and you get what you need from it like that. So that's the advantage. So there. So the other thing we have here is this carbon neutral whatever stuff that they put here. So let me go to that place. After this section, I'm going to have this div. Inside this div, there is this image that is there, and let me get the image. So let me get the name of the icon. Okay, it is the same name. So images, there's going to be this icon carbon neutral svg like this. So that's the name of the file, but if the stuff is not loading, then we just want to call it carbon neutral like this. So after this image, what do we have there? We have the text, which I'm going to put in a span, or I'm going to put in a p tag like this, because this one is bold, so I need to put that one in a span. So we have this is, and so this one, the text is going to be inside span, which is this carbon neutral, because we need to bold it, that's why it's inside a span. Then delivery, and yeah, what we just need to do is to give it the class name like that, and it's going to have a font bold like that. That's all for that one. Then this one too is going to have its own class name later on. The div here too is going to have its own class name because we need to put some style there. The same thing for this one too. Class name, the P class name, and for the H2 class name. But I want to arrange them first before putting the styling. So now we are done with this. Lastly, what we have there is this button, and I don't think we created a component for the button. We've not created a component because I can see that this button is being used in another place there. So the button is being used here. We have this start new order, and at the same time we have this confirm order, and they are the same button. So since it's the same button, so we need to create a component for that. So this is going to be button. So button.jsx, and here we're going to have RAFCE, and this our button later on can be linked. But for now, I'm just going to create as a button. So inside it, we have it as button. So the person that wants to use this button needs to supply the children. So whatever you pass inside it, that's what is going to be used. So here we have children. And again, too, if you need to style it down, which I doubt, so the styling is the same across. So so yeah, this error that this thing is bringing out, let me disable it. Children. Why is it complaining? Oh, it's wrong. All right, so yeah, so fix. So yeah, now on this button, we need to give it the class name. So the BG, the background is going to be this, our app red. So it's going to be the app red. The color, so the text white, like this. So rounded full like this. It's going to have padding on the X, should be around this 8. On the topper, so PY should be around this 4, like that. Let me even use it. So this button should be able to have on click, because when you click on it, it's going to do something. So you need to receive on click. So here we can pass it into the button. So on click of this button is going to be whatever on click that you pass into it. So it's going to be on click that you pass. But for now, I'm not passing any on click. Let's just come back here. After this div, what I just need to do to pass our button, and inside the button we have this confirm order like this. So save and go back to the page. As you can see, we have it, and I want this thing to always full its parent by default. So where's our button? So the weight should be full. So W full like this, like that. I always want it to full its parent, but this PY that I use is too much. Let me try this P3 because the button, yeah, and even this P2 because it's too, yeah. So now it's okay the way it's supposed to be. So everything that is inside is supposed to go to center. So let me just display it as flex. So flex item center, justify center in case there's some other thing later on. Again, to text align, text should be center. So text center like this. Even though the content is center already, but I want to make sure that it's always stay like that anywhere I'm using it. So now we have it. But now the design is not looking nice because to me, I think the button will change color anytime you hover on it. Yeah. So it will change to a deeper color anytime you hover on it. So we need to add that here. So BG is app red, but anytime you hover on it, like this, so anytime it is over, we want to use, we have this dark red. I don't think we have it. Let me see the tailwind. So the tailwind file, we have app red, app green. We don't really have it, so I will use this app rose. So what's this thing doing? Where's the space? So BG app rose 900. Yeah, let me try this 900. So anytime it is oval, yeah, it will just change to that 900 because I don't have that dark blue color. I'll be dark red. So let's just change to this for now. So that should be okay. And save. The button is, yeah, the button is okay. So what we need to do now is to style this particular place. So class name flex school, gap should be 4 because everything should be placed on top of each other with a space of 1 rem. They are jam packed together right now, but now, yeah, so they should be spaced. Then for this section, we should have a display of flex. So items should be center because they are supposed to be side by side, and at the same time justify between like this. So save the price is going to go to the opposite side so that we can have this design. Then what else do we have? So the price should be bold and it should be big. So this one should have a text, 2XL font bold like this, which is going to make it to pop out like that. So for this text beside it, I think that one is okay already, so I don't need to change anything. So the only thing we just need to do here, I don't need to do anything on this piece, so let me remove the class. So I'm not doing anything there. So for this one, we need to apply background, this carbon whatever stuff, and it needs to have padding. So it's going to have a px to be first of all, the width should be full. px should be around that 5, py should be around that 2 or 3 like this. So pg should be app rows. So app rows, I think this 400, I don't know if it's that, not 400, is other one. All right, so let me check the other one that we have. Let me try 100. Yeah, I think it is 100. So we need to flex it. Item center, justify, we don't need to justify between. So item center, the gap should be around that 2 so that the image and the text that is inside it are going to be side by side. So this text should take all the space that is left in the parent, like that. And I think the thing is rounded at the top. So what we need to do is rounded small a little bit, or rounded medium. Yeah, so it's rounded like this, and the text inside it is not that big, so text should be small, which is 14 pixels. So it's going to reduce the text that we have inside the stuff. But why is it taking a lot of, well, there's a lot of padding on left and right, so it's too much. So let me use 4, let me use 3, and for top and bottom should be 2. So this one should do, yeah. So we have it like this. Now we are done with this particular area. So for our design now, we have our carts, where we have the cart item and we have the order. But there is a problem that I said I want to solve that time. Look at our item. How many items do we have right now? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now imagine we have more than 5. Now imagine we have more than 5. So let me go to the cart items and let me add more value. So we have 8, 20, 25, 30, 32, whatever stuff. So now see, you see that the more you have, the more items you have to the cart, the more this thing will keep scrolling down, which is really more. This is bad. So what we want to do here is that this thing is going to have a particular height, but if the content that is inside it is more than that height, we want it to keep scrolling. We don't want it to be going down like this. We want to limit the height of this cart item box. So this cart item here now that we have, this box, we want it to have a particular height, like a particular height. But if the content that is inside it is more than that height, then this will give us a scrolling that we can use to scroll up and down instead of us scrolling for the entire stock. Because right now, as you can see, the cart is now more than the product that we have here. We don't want to be scrolling like this. We still want to be seeing our product, but here we should be able to scroll up and down in the cart. And this is what I'm trying to say here. So this stuff, whether what we want to do here is that this stuff is going to have a max height. So when this height is more than 300, then it's no go again. So now if I save it now, you see that it will overflow. Yeah, so it will overflow. But we don't want it to overflow like this. So what can we do? What we can do here is to do overflow like this. So overflow y, because it's overflowing on the y. So auto, that's what we need. We want overflow y auto. And what is auto? If the content is more than that parent, as you can see, it's going to give us the scrolling to scroll up and down. You can see that everything looks nice compared to what we had before. So if the content that you have in the cart is more than the height that we specify, just give us the scrolling bar. But if it's not up to that, it will not show scrolling bar. For example, assuming you only had 2 items inside the cart. Since it's not up to 300, you see that there is no scrolling bar. So this is the reason why I'm using auto. So auto, it will check, is the content more than that container? If it is more, it will give you the scrolling bar. But if it is not more than it, then there is no need of displaying scrolling bar, because we only have 2 items. And these 2 items are not even up to that 300. But if you have more content, or if you have more cards that is now more than these 300 pixels as the height, because that's what we say max. Once it's trying to go more than 300, don't go more than that. Just give us a scrolling bar that we can use to handle moving up and down like this. So instead of the thing just keep going wide here, it's just going to give us the scrolling bar like this, which is really nice, because if you have a lot of product later on and you can add a lot of items when you're working in a supermarket now, you can bought a lot of items, and the item you're buying, you don't want the stuff to be moving up and down. No, we still want to display the stuff, but we have a limited space. So don't go more than this height that I specified. And if the content is more than that, don't overflow. Just give us this scrolling bar that we can use to scroll up and down, instead of this thing to just be going down more than the content that we have there, like that. And we've solved a lot of problems. The only problem that, or the only UI that we've not worked on now, is that modal. So we've not worked on the modal. This is the modal, and this is how it looks like on desktop, but this is how it looks like on mobile. So we need to work on this modal, and at the same time, when we are done with the modal, we now jump into this button, because this button is where the goodies lies. This is where the major work is, because this is the button that is adding the item to the cart, and at the same time, it can update the quantity. Because if you look at it here, this one is showing 4. So since it's showing 4 here, it means your cart too was showing 4 for that particular product. So this vanilla stuff. So since this one is showing 1, this is classic whatever stuff, that's why it is 1 here. So whatever you are doing from this product, that's what the cart is going to be seeing. But right now, we already have the dummy design with all this content. But later on, once we add this our action, once we click on add to cart, it will be 1 by default, and it will add that product here. But if you increase the stuff from this counter here, then it will be updating the cart, and you'll be seeing it live. Whatever you are doing here, it will happen here. And if you remove anything, if you remove the stuff here, then it will go back to add to cart. But before we do that one, we need to work on this UI, which is the last UI part that we've not worked on, apart from this button stuff. So once in the next class now, we're going to work on this particular place. And once it's done, there, because we need to connect it to this button. Once we click on this confirm order, that's where this modal is going to pop out. And again, we need to work on this component on its own too, because these are like items too. But the reason why it's different from this, because that one is showing the image. This one is not showing image. The one we had there is not showing image. But the one we're going to be working on later on, as you can see, is showing image, and that one is not showing the price. It's not showing total. It's only the price, or it's showing just that the design is quite different. You cannot remove anything from it. So we need to work on this type of cart item too. So this is another type of cart item. And again, this one is just order item. So we're going to call it order. That's this one. All this one, they are starting with carts. So this one is going to be order items, then order item. So this is each one of the item is this. Then again, put the button. So we're going to work on this order modal. We're going to create the modal. And from the modal, put all the necessary stuff we have to put. Then the last class is just going to connect this button into our this carts. And from there, we deploy it, and from there we move to another project. But after this project, I'm going to be giving you a project that you need to work on. But it's not just about you listening alone. you have to do something that is quite different from what I'm doing, but you're still using the same technique. Whatever experience you have here, you should always use it on another project, because that's how you learn, not just you listening alone or watching the video. You need to do it on your own by applying it to separate project that looks like this. And what you can just do is just go online, or you go to this Figma. So once you go to Figma, what do? You just go there, you search for food ordering design. So once you see the food ordering design, then from there, you see that some of the stuff you are seeing on the design is related to what we are doing. Then you use the same experience that you are, getting from here to that application. And anywhere you have problem, then you can now come. That's how you learn. If not, you just be listening every time. It won't do any good. So once you listen to me or you do it, you have to apply that same stuff on a design that looks like that. For example, here, you can go to Google, so food, or let me just say restaurant, not near me. So restaurant web, so web app, just say Figma, so that you can get the complete design. They have so Figma community like this. So this is where you can get different designs. So Figma community. So this one you don't need to pay for some of them. So like as you can see, you see different design. But most of the time, they only design for mobile. But once you go to Figma community and you search, you see. So this is one. This is another one. You just click on any one of them, and you're going to see. And the one that is simple, because you always start with simple stuff, then you keep adding more features into it. Because our own that we're doing right now is simple stuff. We have the product already. And again, the user is not logging in, because the user now we need to know who is buying the product or who want to buy the food, so that except if it is at the restaurant that you cannot order online, that they have their server there, people that just put the stuff on the computer and they print out the stuff for you directly. But if it's something that the user can order online, you need to know the user that want to order. So which means you need to connect the system, or you need to connect backend. But for our own now, we're starting from the basic one, because we're only focusing on the front end aspect, not the other one. That's how you do it too. Not that you just pick a big project. No. Start from the basic. And when you're done with the basic, then you can now add more things to it. That's why it is. You are building it. You always build something. Even if you finish building the stuff, there's still some things you want to add to it later on. So building is always continuous, and that's why it is development, the process that you always do or iterate over based on the new changes that you want to add to the design. All this thing are not loading. What's going on? So that's how it works. So let me quickly see if this thing is going to load. And if it's something I like, I can just share. Yeah, no, this one is way too much. This one actually combines. This one is like a site. It's not. It's add a lot of items. So this one is like a site where you can, you know, they have their. But the one that we are working on is just a normal application that the user can order from, like that. But this one goes more than that. Let me see this one. That should be all. I'll see it later on. I don't want this video to be long time. Yes, yeah, already. So stop.